Welcome to Launchpad for Hosts. I'm so happy you guys are here. We're a very small group, which is great because, we will have a great conversation. Hi, Anna. Welcome. Um, if you guys can have your camera on, it's super appreciated because otherwise I feel sometimes that I'm just speaking into the void, right? If for some reason you cannot have it on, it's okay too. But I just want to tell you that kids, furry friends, lunches, whatever you're doing, you're welcome here. So feel free to bring your lunch, your kid, your cat, anybody to the screen. We're going to get started. For those of you that I have not met, my name is Sara Lomelin. I'm the CEO of Philanthropy Together, and I use she, her pronouns. I am based in San Francisco, California, originally from Mexico City, and it's so great to be here. And I am joined today by Kaison Buntuong, who used to work with us. He was our awesome director of development, and he now has this amazing consulting practice to support nonprofits and philanthropic organizations with development and many other things. Kaison, do you want to introduce yourself? Well,
Yeah,
I
hi
rename
everyone.
myself because I just saw that my name says Philanthropy Together. So, okay.
Hi, I'm based here out in Oakland, California. Just like Sada said, love being in this kind of social impact space and helping organizations fundraise, but really excited to join you all. And I'll be supporting with tech. So drop your questions, keep the chat lively. Happy to elevate everything up to Sada to answer questions throughout. So don't be shy.
Awesome. Perfect. Okay, let's get started. Um, so who we are, right? Like, first of all, um, well, no, what is this? Why are you here? So, Launchpad for Hosts is our special program to support organizations and institutions that want to start giving circles, right? You want to host giving circles. If you're thinking about hosting one giving circle or 20 giving circles, is the same because what we want you to get out of this is, to have all the tools to have a win-win situation. We always hear from, community foundations or Jewish federations or organizations that are hosting given circles that sometimes it's very draining for the staff, and we don't want that for you. So this training that we have developed was after 10 years of research. There was research done 10 years ago actually with community foundations that were hosting given circles, and then we went back and asked those community foundations what worked, what didn't work so well, what would you uh, have loved to know beforehand, right? To do differently. So that is how we put together Launchpad for Hosts. Um, we are going to have two sessions. So today is the first session. And then the second part, because it's a lot of information, if you can go a little bit back, Kaison. No, actually, it's fine here. We're going to have two 90-minute sessions. So one today and the other one is next Thursday because there's a lot of information. If for some reason you cannot join next Thursday, don't worry because by signing up today, you will get that recording too. So this is what we're going to be seeing during these two sessions, right? What is collective giving? Why does it matter? How do I start my giving circle? My community foundation slash uh, faith based federation slash corporate foundation slash whatever you are coming from. What does hosting a giving circle look like in practice, and how can I get support on my giving circle startup journey? Before we get started, you can go one back, Tyson, about philanthropy together, right? Because I know most of you know who we are. Yes, Holly, you will get all the slides. Um, Philanthropy Together is a nonprofit global initiative. We were started 5 years ago as the brainchild of more than 100 people. We had researchers, funders, academics, um, uh, nonprofit leaders, Giving Circle members, Giving Circle leaders, and we put together, the plan for what is now Philanthropy Together. And the way we do our work is, we provide trainings, we tell stories, we do a lot of research, we host convenings like We Give Summit, so we put together We Give Summit, and we really are connectors of groups and community and building community. Okay, so now let's get started. So before, we get started, the very first thing that we do when we're starting at Giving Circles is to create community, right? And I feel that we are a group small enough that we can all, instead of going into breakouts or whatever, we are going to talk here. So Giving Circles are all about people and being in community. So at the end of the day, that is the most important part of a Giving Circle, right? It's not giving solo, it's giving together. So our group is no different. So I want you to have a powerful experience over the course of, the next couple of weeks, and after this, for the next several months, because the group right now, we will be, learning from one another. So we want to know each other as allies in this work, and hopefully, make some friends along the way. So if we can just go around the room and just, if you can share your name, if you're part of an organization, and if you are thinking about starting one Giving Circle or more, and what was your culture of giving growing up? um, do we have any volunteers to start, or am I cold calling someone? Who wants to start? Just by name, your organization, if you're thinking to start a Giving Circle, and something about your culture of giving. Anna, I see you on mute.
I'm happy to start, Zara. Thank you.
Awesome.
Hi, all. I'm Anna Tichler. I lead the partnerships and communications work at Kiva. We do crowdfunding loans all around the world. My culture of giving growing up was local, I would say is the best way to describe it. Local, personal, one-on-one is very much kind of what's within my roots and my background. So that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. Thank you, Anna. I see that Marisela and Kirsten cannot come off mute. Don't worry about it. If you can put it in the chat, if your name, your organization, and something about you, that will be great. Who wants to go next? Okay, Scarlett, same with you. If you can put it on the chat, no worry. Holly, you want to go next?
Sure, I'll jump in. My name is Holly Harlan. I just started working for the Whidbey Community Foundation in November. I'm focused on donors, donor relationship, fundraising, and excited about starting as many giving circles as I can. As an executive director, some time ago, I had the opportunity to work with a giving circle and be a part of their process, and then receive the funds. And I stay in touch with actually some of the people from the Giving Circle. So I've had real positive experiences with Giving Circles, and I'm looking forward to bringing that to Whidbey. We're a new community foundation, about 6 years old. So we have an opportunity to really set the pace of what giving and giving culture is here on the island. So Whidbey is an island just north of Seattle. Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have never been there, but I have heard that it's beautiful.
It is.
Yeah, my son has been several times because his girlfriend's family have a house there or something. So yeah,
Nice. Well,
awesome.
you'll have to come.
Yeah. Okay, I'm looking at the chat. Okay, Scarlett from Accountable Impact based in Miami, Florida. Welcome. Helen, Executive Director, Instituto Diversidad in Brazil, had worked before in corporate philanthropy. Great to have people from Brazil coming in. Kristen, Director of Donor Relations at Breakthrough in Chicago, thinking of starting a Giving Circle for parents raising young children. Great. Marisela with the Community Foundation Northern Nevada as the Director of Community Engagement. Latinx Giving Circle here, but leadership is very worried about their workload. Awesome, Marisela. And I will connect you with the Latino Community Foundation too. I worked there for 8 years, and they are expanding to Nevada, so they will be a great ally for you there. Okay, who wants to go next?
I'm happy to jump in.
Liz. Hi, Liz.
Hi, I'm Liz. I'm with a national organization, nonprofit called the Three Pillars Initiative, and we bring youth philanthropy programming to communities. So we bring high schools throughout the community together for an extracurricular youth leadership program that's 2 years old. We have affiliates all over the country, and so we're looking at helping them continue to engage their alumni. So that's why we're interested in the Giving Circle model, so that we can help them continue to fundraise for their youth philanthropy group.
Awesome. Welcome.
Thank you.
Sue, do you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Sue Swite. I'm in Columbus, Ohio. I just left 3 years at NiSource Charitable Foundation. NiSource is a holding company for utilities, but I have a broad experience in nonprofits before that. But I worked in corporate philanthropy. So I'm really interested in the employee Giving Circle angle, and I really loved the program on it the other day. I was in a Giving Circle for a bit, but it was a really top-down organization, and I felt like that top-down structure really weakens the bonds between individual members. Growing up, my parents, we weren't wealthy, so my parents loved us to do acts of giving. So we were often sent out to elderly neighbors to go weed their garden or rake leaves, or my parents engaged us a lot in volunteer programs because there were so many kids and we'd come and get a lot of work done. So yeah, that was kind of what we gave. I was raised Catholic, so there was the you got 15 cents for your allowance and you give 10 cents of that to the church, and it was horrible.
I was right, Catholic too. Yeah, yeah, I remember that. Thank you, Sue. Welcome. Jessica, can you get off mute?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I'm Jessica Wertz. I'm the Director of Philanthropy at the Community Foundation of Gunnison Valley, which is in rural mountain Colorado. And we had kind of circled around Giving Circles for a long time, and we had someone sort of spontaneously, unofficially kind of try and start one, but it pretty much fizzled immediately and didn't really go anywhere. So we're more looking, we don't want to do that again. So we would love to, find where we have the momentum and the interest to actually have it fly on its own. And so that's kind of where we're at. And then for myself growing up, we just always, we're big donors of goods, more than time or money. So we just always just constantly kind of giving things to Salvation Army and whatnot. So that was kind of my culture growing up.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And this is, the perfect training because yes, we don't want your Giving Circle to start and then fizzle in the first, 6 months. So hopefully this will be helpful for you. And then I see Betty that you're here. I don't know okay, perfect. If you can come off mute and just introduce yourself for everybody, that would be great.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you so much, Sarah. Hello, everyone. My name is Betty Osei-Bonsu. I'm the Programs Director for the Green Africa Youth Organization. And I think for us, or for myself, collective giving or philanthropy is quite new for me because as an organization, we started by implementing projects within grassroots communities for the past 10 years now. And then through those models, we started giving young people seed fund. And then just 2 years back, we launched the Africa Climate Youth Fund to support young initiatives driving change within their communities. So I'm very open to see how this is being done and the model we use and how I can adapt that in my context. Thank you.
So thank you, Betty. And I think we're missing Kritsia. I don't know if you can come off mute, or if not, if you can just put in the chat a little bit about yourself, that would be great.
Hello, how are you? My name is Kritsia Dabdub, and right now I'm in New York, and I've been honored to be part of of the Latina Community Foundation, which has inspired me so much. Sari has been like fundamental in really teaching me so many beautiful lessons about giving. So, it's been an honor, and I'm so happy to be here today. Thank you, Sari.
Thank you, Kritsia. I didn't know you were my Kritsia. Kritsia and I are very good friends, but I didn't see her last name on the Zoom, so happy to have you here.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
Okay, guys, let's get started. We're going to start, with the first, which is what is collective giving and why does it matter? Um, Next slide, please, Kaison. So collective giving is not new, right? It's not new. It's definitely not American. It's rooted in, humanity across the world, right? Like the whole idea of people banding together to create change is as old as humanity itself. Mutual aid and collective giving groups have existed for centuries. Um, we have the first examples of giving circles and collective giving, in Africa. And these groups offer a truly broad array of essential services, right? Whether it was providing medical care or building schools or helping newly arrived immigrants find housing and jobs, like these collective giving groups that may have very different names across the world have always existed. Maybe you can think about your family, helping one of your cousins when they were going through a rough patch, or, cooking for your neighbor, or, all of that is collective giving, is people giving together their time and their talent and their treasure and their testimony. So the universe of collective giving is super expansive, right? There is a recent article in Axios that share that giving circles and collective giving is the fastest growing form of philanthropy. Kaison, I don't know if you can drop that link in the chat for people to read it afterwards. But when we saw that article, it was really exciting because it was after we released a research report. So there are many, many uh, types of collective giving, and giving circles is just one expression of that. So the $1,000,000 question: what is a giving circle, right? And we love this definition that our friends at Amplifier is a network of giving circles based on Jewish values, that is based in New York. And it says a giving circle takes your mind, talents, and financial ability seriously and makes giving a collaborative social experience. They create caring, generous communities of people who act intentionally, thoughtfully, and strategically together. And those three last words are so important, right? Because this is not crowdfunding. This is not reactive crowdfunding, or, something that your cousin told you to donate to a campaign and you go and you donate, and 10 minutes later you forgot what was even the cost that you donated to, right? And this is exactly what you want in the giving circle that you will be hosting. You want people to really learn about philanthropy, learn about grant making, learn about the importance to supporting grassroots organizations and local based organizations, and be very thoughtful and strategically together, right? And also by not replicating kind of the bad forms of big philanthropy. So the whole thing is that, there are four different parts of a given circle. First, how do you create a sense of belonging, right? Many people come together, right? It's not giving solo, it's giving circles, giving together. So you need a group. And in that group, that group gets together and shares about their values. Like, for example, right now, we did it really quickly. Like some of you share how that culture of giving that you grew up with, right? But in every given circle, the very first thing is to create this sense of belonging with the group. When people can get to know each other as people, be vulnerable to one another, and beautiful friendships and brotherhood, sisterhood gets created here. The second part of a giving circle is to open a space for discourse. This group that gets together, they're going to discuss a common vision and engage in discourse and learning. And that is extremely important. Why? Because this is an exercise in democracy and civic engagement. In a given circle, even though if you get a group that has similar values, that group may come from very different backgrounds, or ages, or socioeconomic status, or many different things, right? So how can we learn to share different perspectives? And what I always said, to say to the group is like, in a given circle, you always come with something to share, and you leave with something that you learn, because you are putting your individual decision making in the back burner for to agree with the group. You're part of a group. The third part of a given circle is to give with trust. And trust is at the core of giving circles. There is trust in the process, because a lot of times that pooled fund of money is there before the members know where that money is going to go to. So there's trust in the model, there's trust in the process, there's trust among members. And the whole idea is that trust will get transferred to the nonprofit leaders, to the leaders on the ground, to the movement leaders, right? Because at the end of the day, and that is a lot of the donor education that each of you will be doing with your Giving Circle members, is that we as donors, we rarely know about the different causes, right? We may study, we may read, but the people that really know what is needed in their communities are those nonprofit leaders that are working on the ground. So how can we, create this relationship and close relationship between Giving Circle members and nonprofit leaders and community-based organization leaders? And then the most important part of a Giving Circle is to act in abundance, right? To not stop by on the financial contribution, but to really encourage people to donate their 5 T's: time, talent, treasure, testimony, and ties. And of course, time and talent is, volunteering, giving your skills, right? If we have Giving Circle members that are accountants, that they have been helping the nonprofits that they fund with, helping them with their accounting or their databases or whatever. But testimony and ties are even more crucial in these days, right? Each of us have a voice, and we can advocate for those causes that we care about. And each of us is part of different networks, right? The doors that we can open to those organizations and those causes are crucial. We have a website that it's in 5 different languages. It's called whatisagivencircle.com. It's in English, Spanish, Portuguese, German, and Mandarin. And it's a really fun website and very simple to use when you're trying to explain to people that are not in this field what a Giving Circle is, right? It's like, okay, a group gets together and they pull their funding and they do this and do that. So please, feel free to utilize all of that. Okay, so for host organizations, Giving Circles sit at the center of opportunity within a changing landscape, right? You have, the changing landscape of your organization. The world is really changing, and the philanthropic sector is really changing right now, not only in the US but globally, right? And then the landscape, or of the social sector and context and community, right? We really live in a time of change in this socio-political historic moment, and a lot of organizations that have been really relying on big grants from big foundations, or big corporate dollars, or government money. Right now they're seeing that they're getting their budgets are being diminished, right? So starting a Giving Circle, it is a great solution for this, because Giving Circle money is new money. It's individual donor money, and it doesn't compete with anything else. So for nonprofits, it's great to be funded by a giving circle because it's like, you have, instead of being, you get 10 or 20 or 50 individual donors in one sitting, and you are diversifying, your ecosystem of funding and of support. Collective giving is really, really, really expanding rapidly. Next slide, Kyson, please. We're going to post on also in the chat this research report that we've released last year. But just in the past 6 years, we went from having 1,600 giving circles in the US to nearly, actually, we're over the 4,000 giving circles in the US, from 150,000 people involved to 370,000 people involved in the giving circles in the US. And giving circles in the past 2 decades have donated $1.3 billion. Just in the last 6 years, $3.1 billion were donated by giving circles. So this is a great case for support if you need to convince your board or convince, people to be part of this. Giving circles are not cute. It's a very, very powerful movement. And again, as I was talking about, not only for, to mobilize funding, but also, to there's civic engagement mini labs, right? There is an incredible potential for growth. So as you see in the coast, that's where more giving circles are located. So, Jessica, Colorado, there's a lot of potential for growth there. Like the South, there's a lot of potential to grow there. So, and this is something that we saw too. Where there are more giving circles in the States, there is more money flowing to community-based organizations. So giving circles are really a good way to mobilize funding to community-based organizations. So whoever was in Nevada or starting in Nevada, big, big potential there too. Okay, a look at what giving circles bring to the table, right? This is still a movement that is primarily women-led. 84% of groups have more than half of the membership consisting of women. And I think it's 60. Where is my number? I don't have it here. I think it's almost 70% that are giving circles that are all women. The local part of things, 93% of groups have their membership from a single locale or state. So this is great. Why? Because Giving Circle members are not going to be just writing a check and call it a day. They are the ones that will be the pipeline of volunteers, the pipeline of potential new board members for your foundations. They are the ones that are going to come to every single fundraising event or every single event that you will do at your foundation. They will be there. I always said that Giving Circle members are not regular donors. They are the ones that will get, the team jersey of your foundation on and will be with you along the way. 50% of groups have member contributions under $500. So this is something that can appeal to everyone. It's not only for the ultra rich. It's not only for, the millionaires. People that get into giving circles tend to stay in giving circles, like 7.5 years in the average length of membership. And then there's a lot of giving circles that have identity affiliation, right? Either, race, religion, age, profession, etc., etc. This was the very first time that we did that we survey individual members of giving circles, and being part of a giving circle is good for your health. It's good for you. People feel that they belong to a community. It is great to welcome newcomers into your city or your state. The years that I worked at the Latino Community Foundation here in San Francisco, we got a lot of new people coming into California that they were looking for, to meet their people, to meet other Latinos. So if you're thinking about starting an identity-based giving circle in your foundation, this is great. Something that I want to flag is the last one, which is the ability to engage in discussion with whom you might disagree. I know there is room for improvement, but in these times of polarization, being part of a giving circle also helps this muscle of debating in a respectful way, right? Hearing other people's perspectives, learning from one another, learning on how to, maybe change your opinion after, learning more about a different cause or a different, perspective. Um, Next slide, please, Kyson. Yeah, this is me. So it's the whole thing, right? Like giving foreign communities will represent is the future of philanthropy. I think every single community should have a giving circle. Because crises come and go, things change or not change. Those people that are going to care about the local community are going to stay no matter what. Like maybe all of you know of a group of women or a group of older men that get together every week and continue to get together and go and volunteer at the food pantry or do something together. So that is why it's so collective giving. It's so important. Here is the QR for the resource for the report. We would love for you, and you can share it and whatever. Okay. How do we start a giving circle in your community foundation? So over, the today and next week, we're going to talk about 6 different themes. The vision, right, of the hosting vision. What is the mission alignment with your community foundation or your institution, right? What are the outcomes, the expectations? How do you align that from the very beginning so it's a win-win relationship? We're going to talk about circle design. What could be the focus of your giving circle, the size, the financial contribution, the grant making, the values, etc., etc. The host and circle relationship. Integration, investment, support, staffing. We're going to talk about those 3 today. And then next week, we're going to talk about circle leadership, right? The engagement, ownership, expectations, and grant making. What do you need as a host in terms of infrastructure, right? Do you need support in communications, in data tracking, in technology? What do you need or do not need? And then what is the impact evaluation and donor stewardship that you should do so the giving circle doesn't fizzle? So we're going to start with Philanthropy Together's 5 building blocks, right, for a sustainable host model. And the first one is clarity. You need to be extremely clear with all the parties involved in this, right? With your staff, with the leadership of the giving circle, the leadership in your organizations, and also with the giving circle members. What are the expectations? What is the host organization providing? What are the giving circle members in charge of, right? The whole idea is that you will, with clarity, everything will work. All right, perfectly fine. So there is a lot of planning beforehand, but once you have it, it's like, yes, giving circle members are in charge of A, B, and C, and host organization is providing, E, F, and G. So clarity is key. Consistency. Offer those supports and build the relationships in an ongoing and consistent way. That is how you build trust, right? And the giving circle will grow over time, and people will be passionate and happy enough to say, oh, I'll invite my friends to be part of this giving circle. Agency. This is key, guys. You need to give giving circle members agency from day one. They need to buy into it, and they need to feel that this is also theirs. Because otherwise, I have had horror stories, right? There is a foundation in New York that they have had a giving circle for, I think, 20 years, a giving circle that has not grown. It has 15 ladies that have become very, very, very needy. They want staff members of the foundation to keep organizing their meetings every couple of weeks and their calls and do everything for them. Why? Because there has not been clarity and agency. They feel that, the foundation is in charge of that. So really, you need to identify right from right from the start, like who are those leaders among those first, giving circle members, right? You will find people that love to be a leader. They will love to facilitate. You will find someone that loves to put fundraising events. So you have someone that is the queen bee, right? It's really great to find queen bees in your community. Who is that person that people kind of, circulate around? And then, of course, you will have people that will say, I'm just going to the meetings, or I don't even come into the meetings. I'm just happy to write my check. And that's okay too. So everybody needs to have their own spot, right? So you are nurturing them, but you are giving them agency and leadership. Equity, this is key. The last thing you want to do is to replicate harmful practices, right? Unfortunately, there are some giving circles that function as mini foundations, and we don't need more foundations. We don't need, more RFPs. We don't need community-based organizations jumping through hoops to get a $10,000 grant, right? So there is a lot of donor education that goes into this. And then, necessity, right? You're not alone in this work. We will be with you along the way. Every training that we do is for free. If you need me or Ty or someone from our team to go and talk to your board, or to convince, people in your foundation for X, Y, and Z, or to talk to your whatever, please let us know. We will be happy to do it. We have done it several times. There's also, a community of community foundations, Jewish federations, and host institutions that have gone through this. So they have a lot of lessons learned, and we will be happy to connect you with them. With that said, decision point number one: why do you want to start or continue giving circles at your host institutions? How will they connect with your mission? So here are 4 ways that you might be thinking about this alignment, right? So we encourage you, we're going to send you actually the toolkit. We're going to send you after today, an electronic toolkit. If you want a printed copy, let me know and we can send the printed copy to you. It's like 150-page toolkit. And we can also send it as a PDF for you. That this training used to be 6 weeks long. So it's a lot more information of that toolkit has at this condensed version, right? And we also are going to put some activities for today. But anyway, next slide, please, Kaiser. So there are 4 ways that you can do this, right? Like, first and most importantly is the purpose, right? How can you connect back to the purpose? Maybe, your purpose of your host institution is to contribute to the culture of philanthropy in your community, or, directly tying back with an issue or audience focus areas, right? Maybe you are trying to connect more deeply with the Latinx community or with the Black community in your city, or, with the rural community in your city. So it may be about, let's democratize philanthropy, right? Maybe you have a lot of very wealthy donors, and you're trying to show your community that your community foundation is for everybody, right? Or you're trying to bring new voices, right? Maybe a younger generation of donors. So you need to think, what is the purpose of your organization? The next category is people, right? Back in 2016, Jason Franklin, who is a researcher for the Collective Giving Research Group, shared that 90% of host organizations said they were creating a culture of philanthropy in their community. But in, in talking to them, that was not the case, really. It was more about bringing new donors, right? Oh, I'm going to bring, I'm going to start a giving circle because I want more donor advice funds to be opened here. Or, yes, the money will be flowing in the foundation. There is a disconnect. That is a disconnect. It's not a problem to want to bring new donors, but I'm going to tell you right away, if that is the purpose, this is not it. Because starting a giving circle, it's a lot of work, and you may have donors that will start their new donor advice funds. You may get, donors that will be joining, your board, but not everybody, right? Giving circles for a lot of people is their first entry door into philanthropy, which is great. Great. You want them to get there, especially younger donors, because once they're there, research has shown that people that participate in giving circles tend to donate more over time. Not only in their giving circles, but they tend to be, volunteer more, donating more in other places. You may be looking to increase the diversity of donors in your host organization or strengthen relationships with and among existing donors, right? The third perspective is the programs, right? You may be looking to, building more relationships with more organizations. When I was at Latino Community Foundation, some Giving Circle members brought to us these tiny community-based organizations that we were not even aware of, right? And we were a community foundation. We're like, oh my God, we know everybody. We know every nonprofit under the sun. That was not the case. So it is great to discover new, community-based organizations that may not be on your radar, right? And then on the last part, which is the position, right? Maybe you want to increase the visibility of your host organization. Maybe you want to increase your grant making. You want to pilot, certain approach. So no matter the reason, we have put this halo around purpose because it's what we strongly encourage you to start from, right? Starting a giving circle has to be very aligned with your purpose. Like the strategic rationales on their people and programs and position may also be there, but you should think of them as additive to the purpose. When you start with purpose, everything else will flow. Okay, so now we move to the big decision, second big decision point, and this is super basic, right? Like overall, what does success look like? What benefits and outcomes are you expecting? And in the next slide, we have a lot of responses that host institutions have given us, right? They want to, have a long-term host relationship with giving circles. They have to have an increased understanding by community members of an issue and cause area. Maybe there is, an epidemic of addiction going on in your community that the community at large is not aware yet. So maybe you start a giving circle just to increase the awareness on that area, right? Gain powerful ambassadors in the local community. Again, these people that have the jersey on. Increase civic engagement. This is a leadership development program for your community members. So we have many resources in our resource library. Next slide, Tyson, please. So we are going to share all this with you too. Our resource library, we encourage you to visit it. Everything is there for free. And if you have something that you use in your community foundation or your institution that you would love to share with other giving circles, by all means, send it to us. We'll give you credit and we'll post it on the resource library. So we're going to do a tiny activity. Tyson is going to put a link in the chat for the activity pages. So just make a copy on your Google Drive. And if, for you guys that cannot be on camera, or you cannot access it right now, we will send it to you. But what we are going to do is you're going to see a page like the one that is in the next slide. Can you change the slide, Kaison, please? And just look at this. And literally, the way you can do it is delete the ones that don't make sense for you and your host institution, or change the color of the ones that make sense. Um, so just start thinking about this. And it's okay if you are thinking like, my God, I cannot make a decision right now, like I will think later. But just, what we want you is to start thinking about why, right? What is your mission with the Giving Circles? And your Giving Circles will do what? And you can add your own. So we encourage you to keep, thinking about that. So keep that activity, the activity sheets with you. And maybe we continue. Yeah, we can continue, because I think I was talking too much at the beginning and I was running a little behind. Okay, we're going to move into the second part of things, that is the circle design. And again, I'm going super fast on things. When you see the toolkit, everything is super, uh, um, kind of, what is the word that I'm looking for, Carson? Um,
It's very
explained.
structured and laid out for you to fill
Thank,
out.
thank you, Carson. Okay, so now we're going to talk about, the circle design, right? So how will your giving circles originate? What much control do you hope and expect to have over the giving circles? Because at the end of the day, you will be hosting the giving circle. So yes, you want that giving circle, to kind of, function by itself and not be a lot of work, but you want that giving circle to be extremely aligned with your mission and your host institutions, right? So it's related to the level of control or influence that you want to have, and also to being aware and realistic about the power dynamics between the host and giving circles. It's super, super important. So there are three ways that giving circles originate, and the hosting dynamics, right? So this is an spectrum, and again, there's no right or wrong address and answer. Is just different ways of doing it, from less control to more control. So giving circles start in all kinds of ways. Sometimes a local leader literally goes to the community foundation or the host institution and asks to be hosted to help manage the money, right? Every time we're talking about with people that want to start the giving circles, the question that they always have is like, oh my God, how are we going to manage the money? No one wants to handle the money. So many giving circles get started in a very informal way, and then they look for a host institution. So it can be like that. Sometimes hosts intentionally create giving circles to meet their mission, right? Like, for example, the Minneapolis Foundation was very intentional in starting a Black giving circle. They had a women's giving circle. They had a young professionals giving circle. So they were very intentionally how to create their giving circles. Sometimes it is a combination. So the most ideal model that we strongly suggest is kind of the co-develop, right? Where you as host really are going to work collaboratively with a few individuals or a bigger group to establish a giving circle that is going to address shared priorities for the host and the group, and you mutually agree on expectations,
Sana,
right?
can you
Yes.
look at the chat? I think we have a few questions from Liz that will be helpful
Oh,
context.
yes. Sorry. Can any 501c3 nonprofit? Yes, Liz, this is a very good question. Yes. Any 501c3 nonprofit can host a giving circle. And also, because in the other chat group we have, actually Eliasa is giving right now Launchpad for nonprofits, which is a training for nonprofits that wants to start their giving circle to raise funds for their own nonprofit, right? Kind of like a circle of friends of X nonprofit. So yes. Also, there are other ways to host giving circles. Like, for example, Grapevine is a giving circle platform that regular people that want to start their giving circle can host their giving circle on the platform, and they handle the money. Also, Grapevine is working with host institutions to handle the kind of the back end of a giving circle, the handling of the money, the member communication, and all of that. So I encourage you to take a look at grapevine.org. Kaison, if you can share Grapevine's link, it is a great resource for managing giving circles. Even if the giving circles are being hosted by you, Grapevine can take care of everything. All the donations will go to you as the host organizations, and then you distribute the grants. On the side of the less control is the model that existing giving circle might come to you looking for host support. It is important to know that if the giving circle has already been operating, then can be challenging to make any changes, right? Or this, kind of like, oh, we have been doing this like this, and you're the host institution, and you're trying to change this. And so there may be a little bit of an issue there. And on the side of more control as a host, is when you drive the creation of a giving circle, and you are a lot more prescriptive about the alignment to your mission, priorities, and values, right? If you're going to do this right, just make sure that it's strong and authentic partnership within your giving circles leaders from the start, right? That is the way that the Latino Community Foundation does it, right? The Latino Giving Circle Network is a program of the Latino Community Foundation. I started the network, and all the giving circles were kind of aligned in the mission, the vision, and the values of the foundation. Everybody could decide their own cause, but it was a lot more prescriptive, and the way they are managed is a lot more prescriptive, right? Next slide, please, Kaison. So next is like the big question of the day, right? What are the guiding characteristics of your hosted giving circles, especially for membership and impact focus, right? We talk about, the purpose connection already, and that is the key to align with purpose. And as a host, you may have a specific focus area or profile for members that will best align and fit with your vision of mission, right? But your giving circles will also have their own thoughts. So today is about, defining for you as the host institution what parameters are ideal and what are literally no-goes for your organization. So 5 common guiding characteristics for hosted circles, right? The first is membership affinity. And here's we're talking about women giving circles, Black, Latinx, Asian, other racial ethnic identities, faith-based giving circles, youth giving circle, professional giving circles, LGBTQ, ability-based, whatever you want to talk about, right? So that is the membership affinity. Issue area or region, as it sounds. It can be environmental justice giving circle, arts of culture giving circle, this specific neighborhood in Chicago giving circle, right? Like whatever you want to talk about. The third, it may have to do with a particular set of internal donors, right? Or a high net wealth family that has their fund in your foundation. Maybe, that family fund, they want to bring in the extended family, right? We have had instances when they're saying, oh, they're trying to bring, the next generation of the family into making decisions about the family funds. So you can propose to them to create a giving circle to have these discussions as a family. The fourth one may be a focus on a particular grantee, organization size, or focus. For example, you are going to create a giving circle to support organizations that are led by Black, Indigenous, and people of color nonprofits. Or we're going to start a giving circle to support nonprofits with under $1 million in revenue. And so by focusing this way, you may have a very broad set of members joining the circle, but the profile of the grantees are very similar. So these, path may be also aligned to a strategic priority of your host institution, or to have, complement parts of the grant making, right? Sometimes we're looking like, oh my God, we have not done grant making in X, Y, and Z. So this could be something to think about. And lastly, pardon me, sometimes giving circles are just, formed around a model. So the Giving Circle project, I don't know if some of you have heard of it. It's an amazing, intensive model of a social justice philanthropy, where a group of 20 people come together for 6 months of deep learning, leadership development, and giving, right? Or, the Impact 100 model, where 100 people each pull $1,000 for $100,000 grant. So here, at Philanthropy Together, like we have, developed kind of our own model, right? We like kind of the medium-sized giving circles and X, Y, and Z. The beauty of a giving circle model is that you can invent your own rules, whatever fits for your group. Next slide, please, Tyson. So we're going to talk about 5 archetypes of collective giving, right? The women giving big, crowd granting networks, belonging through identity groups, organizing for social change, and live crowdfunding experiences. Actually, in the research report, there is a typology, and I'm not going to talk about this because we can take another hour on this. There is a typology report, and you will see the characteristics for all these types of archetypes. And apart from that, it has some questions that will ask you, so you can decide how do you position your giving circle. Here are some examples of this, right? As I was talking about, the Latino Community Foundation. They have 23 giving circles that support, here in this case, the Latina Peninsula Giving Circle. They are supporting Latino-led grassroots organizations with budgets between 500,000, maximum 1 million in San Mateo on Santa Clara County. They're very specific on the geographic area and the size of budgets of the grantees, right? They have 28 members. They give $1,000 minimum. The grant size are between, around 15,000, 3 grants a year, one time a year. And the Latino Community Foundation charges a 10% hosting fee. That 10%, and we're going to talk about in another section of the training about that called hosting fee. The hosting fee is never going to cover your whole operations. That is why it's so important that the giving circle, or why you're starting a giving circle, is aligned with your purpose, right? Because, at Latino Community Foundation, their mission is to inspire philanthropies by and for Latinos. So it's really core to the mission of the organization, right? So the 10% that the giving circles are bringing, maybe, $50,000 or $100,000 a year. That $100,000 a year is not covering the operation of those 23 giving circles. But the foundation has decided to keep it because it's really core to their mission. The Heritage Giving Fund is a Dallas-based giving circle. Was the first Black women-led giving circle in Dallas, and supports women-led nonprofits that focus on Black women and children. Has 52 members. They give the voting members give $1,000 a year. Non-voting members give $500. Their grants are smaller, and they pay 5% to their host. Right? They had talk with their host organization, and they pay 5%. The Asian Women Giving Circle, they're hosted by the Miss Foundation in New York. They pay 10% hosting fees. They have been in existence for 20 years. They have given more than these 20 members in the steering committee. They have given out more than $1 million or $1.5 million. And actually, Hallie Lee, I don't know if some of you heard her yesterday. She's the founder of the Giving Circle. She wrote the Big We that I think a lot of people are getting in Wiki Summit. It's a great book. Anyway, so these are different examples of giving circles. There is an activity in your workbook that you can do afterwards to see, ideally, what are the things, what would be your ideal dream of a giving circle? What is feasible and what is a firm no-go, right? Maybe you are going to say, okay, we want a young professionals giving circle. That will be my ideal dream. A firm no would be a teenagers giving circle. Like, no, we're not going to deal with this, right? Or, so start, jotting down your ideas because that will help you focus and narrow your ideas here. Not narrow your ideas. How do I say this? Not getting confused. Staying, with the issue focus areas and the values, right? Maybe you are thinking about an environmental justice giving circle. Like I'm thinking, Jessica, if you're in the mountains, in the rural areas, right? It could be something around the environment. And maybe a firm no would be the opera, right? Or whatever, just like start just jotting ideas there. Financial contribution, that is very important for you to take time to think about. What would make this worth your while, right? Is, the ideal dream would be that each member will be give $5,000. That is the ideal dream. Is it feasible, $1,000? What would be a firm no? If people are going to give $20, it doesn't make any sense. Or the other way around, right? Like if you're doing a teenagers giving circle, the ideal dream would be giving members giving, $100 a year. Feasible would be maybe 200. Firm no, they're not going to give you $5,000. They're teenagers, right? So start thinking about that. Same with a hosting fee. Are you willing to say, okay, we're going to waive the hosting fee during the first couple of years just to get them started and to get people engaged and happy about it, right? Latino Community Foundation for the first many years didn't charge a hosting fee. And the moment they said we're going to charge a hosting fee, there was not even, an iPad because people saw, the value that the foundation was bringing. Because the value that you are bringing as a host organization is not only your expertise, but you are doing the due diligence on the grantees. You're doing the grant making. Like there's a lot of value that you're putting as a host institution. So think about that too. Same as the grant size and profile, right? Maybe the giving circle will be a really good way for your host organization to start giving smaller grants. But again, the last thing I want you to do is to add more work to your workload. So what would be a firm no? Oh my God, we're not going to be, doing grant agreements for grants of $1,000. Like, no, right? So think about those questions, what makes sense for you and what would not make sense at all. So we're going to talk about the host and the circle relationship, right? And first, the first question is, how much investment financially and in kind are you willing to put into the supports that you offer as a host? What supports will you offer? And again, there is a spectrum. There is no right or wrong from the less integration to the more integration, right? So the peripheral, right? It's like, okay, we are going to be offering access to our website so they can, read about the grantees or blah, 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 right? On the more active, well, you will be managing the money, you will be, doing the grant making, the meetings of the Giving Circle will be at your offices. And then integrated is, kind of like a combination of the two. Maybe the meetings are at the Giving Circle members' houses. You don't have to deal with, meetings and facilitating meetings, but you will still be doing the grant making, the due diligence, et cetera, et cetera. There are 5 common types of support, right? The first one is financial and administrative. And as it sounds like it's all about handling the money. And that is the main thing that giving circles need. No one wants to be, responsible for the money. So I was just talking to a woman that was working at a foundation, and she asked, okay, so if I am going to have a bunch of DAF holders start a giving circle, the giving circle itself would be maybe like another DAF. And that is a very easy way to put it, right? Because if your foundation already has donor advice funds, like, yeah, the giving circle can be another DAF, a DAF that will feel and get empty every year, every grant cycle, right? Support for membership. Are you going to help? Of course, you have to get it started, right? But once it's started, is it on? It's the host institution in charge of recruiting new members. Are you going to be organizing recruitment events or happy hours or something, or not? Right? Like once it's started, is the responsibility of those first members or the leaders of that given circle to get more members. And the ideal answer for me would be is both, right? Because you want to be involved in that, and it will give the giving circle credibility to have your host institution behind it when they're recruiting more members. The grant making, for sure, you want to make sure that those grants that the giving circle is given, are given away, they align with your mission. There are organizations they're going through organizations or leaders that are legit, that you did the due diligence that align with your mission, etc., etc. Comms and events. Are you going to have a little mention on your website about the giving circles, or they're going to have even maybe their own web page that it's in yours? Is your person going to post in social media a little bit about the giving circle or not, right? And again, you can figure out what is a good level of support on this. And then in strategic support, are you going to be offering, donor education? Are you going to help them plan, for next year? Are you going to support them with the relationship with the grantees, or thinking about, succession, right? Etc. So the level of the support spectrum, right? Again, you can have the core basics, which are managing the money, distributing the grants, the full spectrum where you're doing basically everything under the sun, like Latino Community Foundation used to do. When I was working there, I'm not kidding you, people, I will go and facilitate every meeting of the 23 giving circles, and they were meeting 6 times a year. I will be flying in the morning to LA, going to Orange County, going to LA, flying back, day after, driving to Fresno, carrying food and wine. It was insane. It was a lot of fun, but it was insane. Not sustainable. So you don't want to do all of that. You can have a menu of supports. And again, it's all about clarity. The Women's Foundation of California, when they were hosting Giving Circles, they had a great menu. And they said, these are the basics that we offer the Giving Circles. If you want anything else, this is how much it costs, right? If you want to, we will offer you meeting space for your 4 meetings a year. If you want to organize a fundraising event, we can offer you the meeting space for free, but you will pay for the drinks, or you will just whatever you want to put it there. In your activity workbook, there's also a really fun page, and you can drag these things, these little cards to the yes can do is the green. The orange is kind of like, maybe. The red is, no way, Jose, we're not offering that. So again, and you can add your own, right? And it's something as simple as help with conflict resolution and member in member matters, right? That is something that is extremely, at the end of the day, Giving Circles are a group of people. And when there's people, there's also joy, and there's, they may be conflict. So I remember one time someone was applying for a job at Latino Community Foundation, and she was a middle school teacher. And I loved that interview with her. And my boss was asking, like, she's a middle school teacher. She doesn't have any, experience with philanthropy or nonprofits. And I said, she's a middle school teacher. She's great with conflict resolutions and cliques, right? Like there is a lot of managing and being, between the cheerleader and the psychologist and the therapist of everybody in the Giving Circle. So you can put everything that you will be able to provide or not provide here. So next slide, please, guys. I know we're like going to time and I want to stop talking so I can answer questions. Something important here. Taisha, and maybe some of you have met her. She's our senior director of community. Here is her QR code to schedule a one-on-one with her. We're here for you. You can schedule an hour with Ty and say, okay, this is a Giving Circle that I want to start. And these are the challenges that I have. I don't have board, buying yet, but I have this and this and that. She is an expert in this and she will guide you through it. We also going to have, every month we have group coaching. You can come 1 month and not come in 3 months and then come again. Come when you can, because it may be 4 people, it may be 20 people, but everybody is on the same, journey as you. And sometimes you're like, my God, I'm dealing with this with a donor, blah, blah, blah. And someone would say, oh, we had that issue and this is how we resolve it. Or, oh my God, we did this, don't do it, right? So come to the group coaching, come to the one-on-one coaching. For sure, come next week to get all the rest of the stuff. And I'm going to stop talking and answer questions. And I would love if also, because otherwise my team is going to kill me, if people can come on camera so we can take a picture, a group picture. Holly, I will tell you in a second. I don't know. I should know this by heart, but I don't know. Let me see, the 22nd. It is at the same time. So it's 9 a.m. Pacific and noon Eastern time. So it's at the same time. And it's the same link and everything.
Okay, so go to the same place and we'll be able to jump in. Okay, that's my
yes.
Thanks.
Yes, and we will send all of you a link, a calendar invitation. So that is why I want to take a picture so I have all your names so I can send you the link. Can anybody else come on camera or we are? iPhone. Okay, there you are. What is your name, sir?
Timothy Arnold Sesazi. I'm from Uganda.
Oh, welcome. Awesome. Good to see you.
Yes.
Okay, let's take a picture. Kaisen, can you take a picture? I'm horrible with this. Thank you. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Okay, questions. Tell me.
So I have a question about the workbook. Like, is that something like I would want to get a committee from the board to go through the workbook together so that we can get on the same page? And then if we did, like, how long, like, 3 sessions, or, I mean, I haven't looked at it yet to know, like, how long would it take to work through it?
The activity book is really small. It's just like 6 activities, right?
Okay.
We will send you the recording for this. We will send you the slides for this and then the slides from next week. And you can do that with your board. I think that will be ideal because they will get it, right? The toolkit it's a lot bigger. Let me see if I have a toolkit here on hand. so I can show it to you. Oh my God, where's my toolkit? Okay, here it is. Oh my God, this is not toolkit. Oh yes, this is the toolkit. Just a second. Okay, so the toolkit is, it's long. So I'm going to say, I can send you guys the PDF so you have it. If anybody wants a printed one, let me know. I don't even know how many printed ones we have. We have it in English and Spanish, so if anybody needs it. And I think on the e-version, I have it in Portuguese. Who was a person in Brazil? I think I have it in Portuguese. So I can send that to you. That I think it will be for you. I think for the board is way too much information. But yeah. Sue,
I kind of had a question about in the United States, obviously donor advised funds are really popular and people are always trying to lower their tax burden by giving, they have a required minimum distribution or something like that. I think it really complicates the issue. Are there any limitations on that with a giving circle? Because a donor advised fund isn't actually the person giving. They've already given and gotten the tax benefit, so it's coming from the fund. So I've just had some questions about that. Or is that maybe something you're covering in the next training?
many people use their donor advice fund to pay for their membership of a giving circle. Because as the money is basically going to go out in grants and they're not getting a benefit, it's not like, like buying a ticket to a fundraiser, right? Like when they're getting a meal or something. So a lot of people use their donor advice funds to pay for their Giving Circle membership. Yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Okay.
And I was just thinking about minimum distributions are often given in the form of stock. So there's another.
I don't know with the stock situation. That's a very good question. Let me ask, we work pretty closely with Fidelity Charitable Catalyst Fund. So let me ask them. But I know that, for example, in their case, they're very we're doing a program with them, especially in the South and the Mountain West. So Colorado is one of the regions. To help start more giving circles as 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 a way to move more funding to community-based organizations.
Yeah.
And what Fidelity wants is for their DAF holders to join giving circles and to get giving circles started. Yeah.
Yeah. I think in the nonprofit world, sometimes you see board members who want to meet their board giving goal by giving you old cemetery plots or other things that they feel like have a lot of value. But yeah, I feel like having a giving, just having upfront giving restrictions and giving guidance.
Yeah.
Helps.
And I think it goes on the clarity, right? To say, you know what, it can come from your DAF, but it has to be cash. Like it cannot be, yeah, no, totally, totally. Timothy, you have a question.
Yes, I do have a question. So I am right now in Uganda, and I am the founder of Dreams of the Tropical Youth Uganda. So I've been following the conversation, but I was wondering if it's only limited to a specific geographical scope, or you kind of extend this to, for example, organizations like mine in sub-Saharan Africa.
There are many giving circles in Africa or giving circles like based in the US or, other countries that support African organizations. And I know that many of the community foundations in the continent have giving circles. So no, it's open for everybody. Like you can join the trainings and everything. I don't know what time is for you right now. Thank you so much for joining. But I always said, and yesterday I was speaking with some people in Australia because one of them had joined one of our trainings and it was like 4 a.m. for her. It was just horrible. And I said, you know what? I would be more than happy if you get, 10 people together to offer a training for you guys at a time that makes sense for you. Like, I don't care if I need to do it, super early in my morning or super late at night. I will do that for you because my passion is this. What I want to see is more giving circles started all over the world. So no, happy to do it. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's 21 minutes past 8 p.m.
Okay, not that late.
Yeah, it's not that late. Yeah, it's not. Also, I took a screenshot of your email, so I was wondering if it's okay if I drop you an email.
Totally, of course.
Is that okay? Okay. All
Yes.
right. Thank you.
Yes, of course, of course. Any other questions? I mean, I see Demetria there, and Demetria was a leader of a big giving circle in Austin. So good to see you. I was going to tell you something. I don't know. Any other questions? Sue, you have another question? Oh, okay.
And I do think we have to launch the poll at some point before.
Oh, yes, please. Thank you, Gyson. Yes. Can you? It would be really useful for us if you can answer this 4-question poll, because with your feedback, every version of the program is a little different based on your feedback. So it will be really helpful for us if you can fill it out. And also, let me. I think we have a raffle too, because we're so happy that you guys are here, that we're raffling a $50 what is it called? Gift card for a shop, or We Give Summit shop. This was the very first year that we have a shop, and we have cute things. So yeah, let me do let me check with the team behind that. Who was the raffle winner? Give me a second. Thank you so much for filling out the poll. Any other questions?
I'll also add that the workbook, I'll just do another plug for the workbook. So the Google Slides is editable. Please make a copy and, use it to your, for your own use and reflection. And I think there will be a lot of reflection, particularly, but we're also, I think, wanting feedback too, if there's opportunities for tools or things that you would like to see beyond what's in the slides, or something you wish you had in this process. I think the Philanthropy Together team is always open for that as well, because particularly want to make this useful. And it's been such an iterative process to develop the toolkit. So it's been really informed by a lot of community members and organizations like yourselves. So as always, just we're open.
Yeah, thank you, Kaisen.
I had a question.
Yes,
Yeah.
Holly.
So, there's part of me that's like tempted to just kind of put it out to the community, give them some education and see where the giving circles pop up. And part of me is like, no, it would be good to really understand what our role is going to be and what we're going to do, and be more thoughtful about how we're going to host and what level of host. So again, the sliding scale, right? And I just wonder kind of where you guys stand on that. Would you say put a little more thought into it before you just put it out there, or what's your impulse?
I would say, as someone that started in this, the very first time I started the first giving circle, we thought we were starting one, right? And it was so, now I laugh, but we were like, the donors were learning, I was learning, there was nothing written. We were giving like people stickers to vote. It was kind of a mess, and everybody, went along with it. And suddenly, we have 23 giving circles, right? We have 500 people. And what I would say is it is great to give it some thought before so you can answer most of the questions, but at the same time, always keeping in mind to be flexible, to be flexible, to be able to say, okay, we tried this and didn't work out, or people are not that engaged. Let's pivot. Because the beauty of the Giving Circle model is that it's very nimble. So you have to, yes, have clarity, but at the same time, be flexible enough that you can say, okay, you know what, we tried this, been there, done that, not working, let's move it. And also, be mindful that you are going to try blah, 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 blah. And at some point, some giving circles stay and grow and they're incredible, right? Some giving circles would take a long time to get to the next level. Once they are there, they fly. Some giving circles are going to be great, but they stay. And, they may fizzle in a few years. And that's okay. Like each giving circle has a different, kind of like timeline. I'm going to tell you a story of this Latino giving circle in Los Angeles. We started in 2015. Right away, they got to about 40 members. And then in the first couple of years, they were growing and they were like 60 members or 70 members. And then it started fizzling because it was very difficult for people to get to in-person meetings in LA. The traffic is crazy. They would never been able to decide where to meet. It was kind of a mess. So that hidden circle was kind of getting smaller and smaller and smaller. I kind of, people, the leaders, everybody moved away. So it was like, my God, this giving circle is in trouble. COVID hit. And many giving circles had a lot of issues during COVID. For the LA giving circle, it was the best thing that happened to them because they moved to having their working meetings online. So everybody could meet, everybody could join. There was no excuse of traffic or whatsoever. They started to grow. They brought new people. They brought new people into the terms, new energy, right? Right now, the Los Angeles Giving Circle is like the poster child of the Latino Giving Circle Network. They have more than 100 people. They are doing grants, solidarity grants with Black giving circles, with Native American giving circles. They're organizing these huge fundraisers, and it's them. They're writing, a lot of resources that other giving circles of the Latino Community Foundation are using. So you never know. It's just, sometimes when a giving circle starts kind of fading, it's time to get a new, not one, because one new member won't do any difference. But maybe, a group of 2 or 3 friends that can inject new energy in that giving circle. And stories like that, we have many of giving circles that were kind of like, we'll see. And yeah.
You just never know. Can't count them out.
Yes. You never know. You never know. Any other question? No? Okay, guys, we're at time. Thank you so much. Let me just check who is okay. The winner is Liz Holt, and she's not here anymore. Okay, I will get back to her for the for the $50 gift card. It's great seeing you. I won't see you next week because I will be in a plane to New York, but you will see Taisha and Isis from our team next week. Isis is a chief strategy officer, and she is the one who puts together all of our curricula. So she is amazing, and Tai has more energy than I do. So imagine that. It's the other energizing bunny on the team. So thank you so much to all of you for joining us. And again, any question, reach out to me, to Tai. We have a YouTube channel with a bunch of videos with resources. We have the resource library, the research. Also at the We Give Summit website, we have the content for 4 years of We Give Summit. So everything is open source. And if you see, for example, oh, I would love to get connected to the Minneapolis Foundation or the Chicago Women's Foundation or, the foundation in North Florida, like if there's anybody that you would like me to connect you with that is hosting giving circles in a community foundation, please let me know. I would be more than happy to connect you with the leaders of those giving circles. Awesome. Perfect. Thank you so much, guys. Have an amazing day. Thank you for joining We Give Summit.